Hey kids, we're here. How you doing? We're back. You're watching Guitar Quackery live. This is the special episode or series called Ask a Tech Live. Live because it's a live stream. Ask a Tech because you can ask me. I'm a tech. That's it. Guitar tech, yeah. Repair tech. Technician. Repair and maintenance. Maintenance. Yeah. I'm tired again today. I'm always tired. Somehow. Alright. And you know what? Because it's a live stream, although this was not supposed to be a live stream, I'm doing it because I want to continue this Ask a Tech series. So I am going to text, hold on, a link. Let me find the guy so he can watch. All right. Boom. It went out. Okay. So what are we doing? I am fixing, or actually I installed a new nut. Now I gotta finish it off. Now because this is the Ask a Tech series, you can ask me about guitar nuts and I'll try to answer questions. That's how it works. Now, I don't have an audience. Oh, I do have an audience. 2 people watching. Oh, look at that. I got a thumbs up from the owner right here. So I guess he's watching. Yeah. Okay, if you're watching, I'm going to finish your guitar today. All right. Oh. So first of all, I changed the pickup here. This guitar already appeared on this channel because I was doing some interesting work here. So first, we're going to see that everything works, and then we'll do the work on the nut. So because I'm using this microphone, you will not be able to hear the sound coming from the amp, which is why I need to connect this microphone to the network so you can hear it. But you will also get a lot of ambient sounds just for a little while. So let's put the mic here. Here it is. And now you can see the guitar. And this is the switch in this position. Oh, I'm missing a string, doesn't matter. The volume works. Position 1, position 2. The volume works. Tone works. How about this tone? 1 second. Tone works, okay? Position 2, position 3, just this pickup. Yeah. Volume works. I don't hear the tone. Yeah, the tone works. Position 4. Tone. And position 5. Volume works. Tone works. Of course, this tone doesn't, because we're in position 5. Now, just to be sure that the selector switch is in fact selecting the correct positions, I'm going to use a tuning fork here. Nothing here. No, here. Here as well. Right. Back to position 1. Nothing. Now position 3 is just this, but nothing here. Nothing here. Position 4. This pickup, but not this pickup. And here, this pickup, that's position 5. Nothing, nothing. All right, so we basically tested everything. Now I can disconnect this microphone and we can work on the nut. So the wiring worked out. Now, during this live stream, I might even show you the wiring because I'll be working on the nut, and then I think I'll remove the strings and show you the wiring again. So let me unplug it for now. Like I said, we're missing one string. The string broke, so I'll just put a temporary string. Now this is a 9 gauge, but the customer wants 10 gauge strings. It's just one that I happen to have. It'll serve its purpose for now. Just so we can cut the nut. Like I said, this is a new series on this channel. So this channel is Guitar Quackery Live. And this series is experimental. It's called Ask a Tech About. And you can only ask me, a tech, about whatever the theme of the day is. So today, you can ask me about Fender style guitar nuts. So nothing other than that, and I'll answer questions about that. I need to be strict about that because, you know, just to be fair to all viewers, I can't really make exceptions. So ask away about Fender guitar nuts. I can read the comments every now and then because I am working. And whenever I see a comment, I'll read it, and I'll try to answer the question. I'll also be explaining things. So I might explain things before you even ask the question. For example, I installed a new nut blank right now, and from the side it appears as if there's a gap between the nut and the nut shelf. I'll show you this. I just got to get the camera in position here. Let me zoom in. So you can see this. It almost seems like there's a gap, but this isn't a gap. Actually, the nut is seated on the nut shelf. This is just chipped off finish. Now, I didn't chip off this finish. This is how I got the guitar, all right? It looks almost like a gap, but like I said, it is not a gap. And we'll just make sure that it isn't. So let's look through the microscope, because we don't want to have a gap. Now, a Fender nut isn't the same as a Squier nut, because a Fender guitar isn't the same as a Squier guitar. Or should I say, a Squier guitar isn't like a Fender guitar. And that's by design, because they don't want people to fake Squiers into Fenders. So you can see this. All right, so we just have some chipped off finish, which I don't think I'll be restoring here, because I already did a whole bunch of work on this guitar, and I just want to finish it without adding to the budget too much, because I already did a whole bunch of other work that, yeah, quite a lot. So the string slots need to be shaped properly, and they need to be filed down to its lowest point without going below the level of a fret, if that makes sense. So to be perfectly honest, if it's a little bit below fret level, you can still play the string without buzzing, just a tiny bit below level. That's because the string is at an angle, right? So you still have clearance between the first fret and the bottom of the string, even if the nut is technically too low. But we don't want the nut to be too low. Simply, we just want it to be right. So I also want to make sure that it's seated at the other side. We want to make sure that it's seated on both sides before we file the string slots. Now, if it's not, we might file down to the lowest level, and then when we take it out, clean up the nut shelf, then it's going to be too low. Okay, so we want to make sure that everything is at the right height before we file the string slots. And it is. Now the two sides are rough right now, and they're a little bit protruding from the fingerboard sides, but we're going to file everything down to the right size. I will start with the low E string. The strings are going to be 10 to 46. Although, like I said, I actually put a 9-gauge string on the on this side, just because that's the one I had. But we're filing it for 10s, 10 to 46. So the first file I'll be using is going to be a 46-gauge file. Okay. Last time I checked, there were 468 subscribers to this channel. So when I hit 500, I'll be monetized. Okay, Dr. HRH is here. He says, delicate guitar. Look at the nut under a microscope. Amazing to see that detail, Doctor. Yeah, yeah. So I always use the microscope when I work on the nut. I can really see what I'm doing. Some have said that it's, you know, overkill. Not really. I can see what I'm doing. It's not overkill. Okay. So, for those of you who are new to this channel, let me introduce you to the Hasco step gauge. It's a Japanese luthier tool. Fantastic tool. Step gauge, because it has little steps. I'm going to take a measurement. Hold on, let me get this magnifying glass of the fret height right here under the 6th string. So it's pretty high, but you see, I can't rely on this measurement because of the way. I'll show you this. So in this case, I can't rely on the measurement, and I need to put the this fret under the microscope to show you, because as you can see, I can't use the fingerboard to measure the height because there's a step right here. So this has been filed down, shaved down, because that's how they did it at the factory, right? To roll the edges of the fingerboard. So in this case, I really can't use the fingerboard to measure the height of the fret. So I won't be using the Hasco step gauge for the first string or the 6th string. let's just do it the old way, which is just by tapping the string. So here I just push it against the second fret, and I measure the height between the fret and the first string. I like to use this. So as I hold it here on top of the string, I push it against the second fret, and this is the remaining height. It's way, way, way too high. So we're going to have to file it down significantly. Let's refocus. Zoom in. So it's a bit chipped off, as you can see, but we're going to file the top as well, so that's going to be restored. Okay, so one thing that I like to do sometimes when I work on when I work on the thick strings is I like to mark off the bottom with a 0.3 millimeter mechanical pencil, the bottom of the nut of the string slot. So just like this, so that when I file it, I can see where I'm removing the material. So now you can see that I'm removing it first from the back end. I'm basically reshaping the string slot to make sure that it's pitched in the right direction. Okay, and now I started hitting the front. So now I want to put the string back, and I don't need to tune it to pitch, but I just need to add some tension, and I just eyeball the distance, and I see that it's still way too high, so I'm just gonna continue filing until I'm no longer in the safe zone. So right now I'm still in the safe zone. It's way too high. So the reason why the nut isn't glued in just yet is because I'll actually be removing it so I can shape the top. I'll put it in the vise. You'll see me do this later, and then I'll glue it in and finish it off. So since this isn't fitted yet, I will stop a little higher than ideal so that I can finish it off at the very end. So this is a Fender style nut. So what's the difference between a Fender style nut and a Squire? The shelf. So on a Fender nut, the shelf is radiused, the bottom of this shelf, nut shelf, or you could call it the nut slot, is radiused. On a Squire, it's straight. So this is getting close. It's still too high, so just maybe one more time. Always clean the nut files. All right, that's really close. It's still too high. I can show you. So slightly higher than I want it to be. This would actually work, but I'm going to stop here because, like I said, I'm going to take the nut out, reshape it, reshape the top on the little vise, and then glue it in, and then touch it up. Okay, so we're done with the high E. I'm sorry, the low E. Now let's see. Do we have any questions there? Because it is the Ask a Tech series. That's a big nut, yeah. Buddy Davy here. I hope you are well and enjoying tonight's stream. I'm so grateful that you make the effort to make this invaluable service all possible. Enjoy the coffee. Oh, thank you. I guess you bought me a coffee. Thank you. I'll check the coffee thing later. But yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. So, any contributions that you make are 100% used towards making this possible. So I kind of renamed Guitar Quackery into the YouTube studio with a guitar repair shop, instead of the repair shop with a YouTube studio. Now it's the YouTube studio with a repair shop. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, now let's look at the A string slot. So because we don't have that issue on the A string, I want to measure the top of the fret height right here. And you know, I know that's hard to see for you, but this is why I have a magnifying glass. So the fret height is, well, quite high. It's actually above 1.5 millimeters. It's quite high. It's rocking like this. So if I remove the string, so the advantage of using the Hosco step gauge is I don't need to always remove the string and put it back on. I can just use it within the safe zone, and then once I'm kind of exiting the safe zone, I start using the string instead of the step gauge. So now let me, so we're about 1.6 millimeters in height here. I don't know exactly how much, I just know that it's rocking. And here you can see that the scale goes only up to 1.5. This is what it is here, number 5. So now when I place this here, I can see that we are even above 1.7. We're about 1.8, I believe. Now, unfortunately, it isn't even possible to measure it because this is hitting the fret. But I'm going to go down to 1.6 or maybe 1.7, and then we'll switch to the other method. So here we have a 36 gauge string, right? Because we're using 10s. And like I said, I sometimes I like to use the mechanical pencil to mark off the bottom so that I can see what I'm doing. I can only do this on the wound strings, really. But first I want to hit the backhand, right? Because I want to reshape it first. Like that. So you can clearly see that I haven't touched the front just yet. I just want to make sure that the bottom is the correct shape, and I do that by tilting the file as I do this, you see? So this is like a natural motion. So here it's almost parallel to the fingerboard, and then as I go like this, it just tilts, and that creates a string slot that's curved, and that's what we want. We want it to be like a little bit like a funnel at the back end, open at the back end, right? So we now keep checking the height with the Hosco step gauge, I guess. And I can see 1.7 is still high, so it's above that. So we just keep going. And you see now I didn't have to use the string. So I'm not fatiguing the string. And you can see how it's tilted, and now it's more parallel to the fingerboard, right? That's the technique that I use. It isn't the only technique, but it's what works for me. I obviously think it's a good technique, which is why I use it. So my fingertips are riding on the two adjacent on the two adjacent strings. It's still too high. Now I just noticed that I have these markers on this side. I'm going to use the other side. So those are markers for the 3D scans. And here we have, we're looking at the string slot. And now I can take a measurement again. So you see 1.7 is here. But it's still wiggling, so it's higher than 1.7 millimeters. At this point, I do want to check this way, just in case. It's still too high, and I am going to start using the string now. So first we eyeball it. No need to measure when we clearly see that it's too high. And always keep cleaning the file. All right, let me see. I see questions or comments. Maybe people are asking questions. I see a question mark at the end of HRH's comment. So let's see. Okay, is there any gauge that you can keep track of your slope as you're shaping the nut? Meaning, could you have too much of a slope? What is the appropriate slope? I'm having a hard time reading your comments because you put everything in one sentence without punctuations. Sorry. Is there any gauge that you can keep track of? Track of your slope as you're shaping the nut? So that's the end of the first question. Keep track of your slope as you're shaping a nut. Meaning, could you have too much of a slope? What is the appropriate slope? Okay. I think I understand your question. Well, I just do it like this, right? Like I showed you. I don't measure the back. I just keep the file fairly parallel. We don't want to start like this, right? We don't want to start like this. We want to keep it fairly parallel. And then I lightly push it down so that when I push the file, it just kind of tilts like that. So I don't take a measurement of the back, but it's got to go a little bit below the string anchoring point here, right? So a little bit below, so that it's completely open at the back. Does that answer your question? And then when I place the string inside and we tune it, we want it to eventually make contact only with the tip here and not the back. So if we look at the string slot, now we start seeing a little shiny witness point right here. Okay, so that's going to be shiny simply because the string is pushing down here, but we have a little slack at the back. And you see how the string vibrates when I play it? It doesn't vibrate inside of the nut because this is the anchoring point. So if we don't have this anchoring point, let's say if the pressure distribution is too even, then the string might vibrate inside of the string slot, and we don't want that. So let's see now when I remove the string, if we see a witness point. I'm going to zoom in. And yes, we can see that shiny witness point right here. It's starting to develop. So this is just from the string rubbing the fresh surface. It's going to make it shiny. And now we want to check the height. And I do have, so another way to check the height is with feeler gauges, like this. So this is the very, very thin feeler gauge. See? It passes through. So we have a little gap that remains. But we don't want to be passing the thick feeler gauges. Now this is 20 microns, 30 microns is still good, 40 microns is still good, 50 microns is still good, especially on the bass side. But let's see this one, 60 microns. So you don't need to have this, you can work with this. And this is cheap. Like that, it's got to be loose. And use the tip. It's still, there's still a gap. That's 60 microns. Let's make sure that I'm measuring it correctly. Yeah, there's still a gap. So we can go lower. So once again, we start fairly parallel. And then this is what we do. Always clean the file. Put the string back. We can just eyeball it. I think it's too high. I'm simply going to file it some more without measuring. And we don't want to be pushing too hard right now. I'm almost not even pushing. But you can see that some dust does come out. So we did remove material. And I always use this when I'm eyeballing. Now this is good, you know. It's just that if we really want to get it lower than 60 microns, then we measure it. And you see now, 60 microns is getting stuck. It doesn't go through. So let's take the 50 micron feeler gauge. It goes through. So here, 50 microns goes through. Oh, let me refocus here. Right here. So again, I push down on the string. 50 microns goes through. The number is right here. 0.05, 50 microns, 5/100ths of a millimeter. And the thicker one is this one, 60 microns. Okay, so we place this one here. We keep it loose. And we're going to push down here. And that's kind of getting stuck, you see? You can see that. It's getting stuck. So the gap is about 50 microns right now. I'm going to leave it at 50 because, like I said, if I want to go lower, I'll do that after I glue the nut in, because I'll be removing this nut to shape the top. I'm not really doing the finishing work now. All right, so let's move on to the D string. Now the D string is going to be a 26 gauge string, but there's no 26 gauge file. There's a 28 gauge file, so this is going to work. That's the file. We can loosen it a little bit, place it here. So because we're keeping this high for now, I can just hook it here. And let's use this Hasco step gauge to measure the height of the fret. Again, we always want to measure it where the string is. It's above 1.5 millimeters. Again, those are really high frets. And this is way above 1.7. So let's go. Now, like I said, I might want to mark off the bottom if I still can. Okay, that's it. And now I'm going to start filing the back first. Like that. And, you know, once a string makes a witness point at the bottom of the string slot, it should look kind of like this, that shiny surface. Now, that's not going to show up shiny right away, but after, I don't know, a few days or weeks of play, it should start looking like this. We don't want to see a shiny surface extending all the way to the back. And sometimes when it's shinier at the back, we know that the string isn't well seated on the nut, which means that the string slot isn't shaped correctly. The bottom of the string slot might be too high at the back end. So before I file it down to the right height, I always want to reshape it like this first. Okay? And now I continue filing. Now you can see that I'm removing material also at the front, but at least I'm now following this new shape. And let's measure it. It's still way above 1.7. And again, it's always the same technique. You see that? I'm taking a risk because I went kind of far without measuring, but I have a feeling it's pretty high, so it's still wiggling here, which means it's above 1.7. All right. Okay, now it's seated here. And if I go to 1.6, I hope I didn't go too low. Sometimes the board isn't even. You can't rely on the board. So let me just tune it. It doesn't need to be tuned to pitch. You just need to have tension. And I see that there's still space. And the gap, if I just eyeball it, I see that it's still too high. So I'm going to stop using the Hosco step gauge, and I'll just use the string to measure the height. Let's see. It's low. So once again, if I just want to keep using these, I can take the 1.6 for now, because I know I want to be below that, and just measure. I can see that it's more than 1.6. So we want to, I don't really want to know how much. I mean, I don't need to know how much more than 1.6 it is. I just know that it's too high. And I still need to be careful whether or not I know the exact measurement. Okay, you can see that 1.6 isn't passing anymore, right? So now we take the other one, 1.5. I want to go a little below 1.5, so that's 1.5. So now I want it to get stuck, right? And you see it's getting stuck. So now let's take the 1.4. It kind of wants to get stuck, right? Yeah, it does get stuck. 1.3. Not 1.3. 30 microns. Okay, 30 microns passes through. All right? So that's the height, 30 microns. It's a perfect height. Okay? Now, the G string, I can see it's super high. So at this point, I just want to start filing. I don't need to measure anything. I know it's way, way, way higher than it needs to be. So let's get it down to some kind of approximate height. We'll just eyeball it. And the way I am going to eyeball it, okay, let me put on manual focus. All right, so now, because this string doesn't have a string tree, it's pretty long here. I don't need to loosen the string. I can just lift it, hook it here, and start filing. Same technique. Now we have a small accumulation of dust, okay, behind the nut and in front. So like that, and clean the file, and just put the string back, and just eyeball it. Again, it's way too high. Not even close to where we want to be. Still way too high. Because I just kind of cut these string slots on the vise, I believe. I don't think I did any adjustments yet on the guitar. Now that's getting closer. Now, on this string, because it's so easy to remove it, so the G string specifically, without even touching the tuning machine, I don't even feel like I need to use the Hosko step gauge. I can just keep doing it this way. Okay, it's getting there, but it's still too high. I guess I can show you the string slot. What we see. Now, notice this little shiny little thing here. Okay, so that's the witness point from the string. It's pushing down on the, so this shiny little point is going to go away as soon as I file it, you'll see. See, it goes away. And now, let's clean it up. Now when we put the string back, the string is going to push down on that. We might get another shiny little point. I don't know. But right now, I want to just tap it. Check the string height. It's getting there. And now, let's see. Let's remove it. Let's see if we have a little shiny point. Almost. I can almost see something shiny right there. You can see that. Little dots right at the tip. Okay. So we need to file it a little bit. Let's put the string back. Check the height. It's still too high. I just know from experience. So, and switch to this, and you can see, again, a shiny little point right there, witness point here. Looks like there's a little dot here as well. All right. Check the height. It's getting there. So again, since we're using this technique today, I'm going to estimate this to be 70 microns. So let's see. We have 70 microns right here. It could be just a little bit below that. I'm not sure. Hold on. No, actually, it's already below. So let's try this one, 60 microns. "60 microns is passing, but 70 microns was not passing, right? Let's double check. No, it's too tight. It's definitely not passing. So it's 60 microns. And now we want to go down to maybe 30 or so. So let's use this one, 50. So it was 60 before. 50 is still passing. Again, it's more than I want it to be, so let's just keep filing. "50 microns again. You see? This is, it doesn't want to go through now. It's getting stuck there. So let's try this one, 40. It also doesn't want to go through. You see that? But I feel I can, let me see. No, actually, I'm going to call this good, all right? I don't want to go lower just yet. Like I said, I'll do a final touch-up once we glue the nut in. All right, let's see. Are there any questions? Okay, I see a question mark here. Like, okay, so HRH is asking, like for the G string, which is notorious for the center, would you want more of a slope or not on purpose? Well, no. Look, on a Fender. Now, remember, we're talking about a Fender, not. On most Fender guitars, you are going to have this situation. No string tree here, no string tree here. Now this one has staggered tuners, so this tuner is lower than this one. Now if you don't have a staggered tuner, you need to put a couple of extra winds on the tuner that's, you know, the same height as this to get the string to about this height. And you can see that this doesn't have a severe break angle here, like here. But on a Squier guitar, you have usually a string tree here, which gives it more of a break angle at the back. So we're not talking about Squier guitars, we're talking about Fender, right? But just to mention, you need to take that into consideration when you file the nut for a Squier. But here we're talking about Fender. Okay, so I just want to be fair to everyone and just talk about Fender. So if people ask other questions, I cannot answer them. Yes, that does answer my question. Absolutely. I see you got to go off the backing point on the post perfect you stated, doctor. Okay. So HRH is asking, doctor, I hope everybody subscribes and you get 500 very soon. Watching this night video again. Okay, so you're at night, okay? Different time zone, right? I know you've done it before and before and before, but this is just really so nice, repetitive teaching. Yeah, thank you. And then Grandpa Joe, good evening. GQ, that's Guitar Quackery. Hope all watching are doing well today. And then Veteran Vibes. Is it a visual tap measurement every time? Or a feeler gauge? I've used both. I've used both as well. So I think it might be your first time on the channel. And if it isn't, I'm sorry, I just don't remember your screen name. I don't remember seeing it before. But like I said, you know, often I use this dial indicator, right? So I would put it on the string. So now I'm on the B string, right? And it rides on the B string. I push the B string against the second fret, and then I measure the height that remains. So you can do it with this, or now we're kind of doing it with feeler gauges, just because. And I can do it without anything. And I mean, honestly, any experienced technician should be able to do it without anything. You just kind of monitor the gap. So I know this is way too high. I know this is way too high. So let's continue. I'm going to put this file away. This is a 17 gauge file. And we're going to take a 13 gauge file for the B string. So you would use the same 13 gauge file for a set of 9s or 10s, because that's the size of the file that's available. Now, on the B string, you don't need to touch the tuner. You can just unhook the string from the string tree and remove it. And you know, you could use the Hosco step gauge, again, to measure the fret height here. See, the fret height here is 1.4 millimeters. It's not the same as here. And now let's measure the height of the string slot. It's above 1.7 millimeters. So we'll keep the string away from the string slot, and we'll just use, for now, the Hosco step gauge until we approach the end of the safe zone. Again, we reshape the bottom first. Okay, clean the file. And let's measure the height. So we are still above 1.7. So we're still way within the safe zone, which means I can file away. Okay, it's less than 1.7. Actually, it's more than 1.6, so it's between 1.6 and 1.7. And remember, we don't want to go below 1.4. So as we approach 1.4, we're going to have to switch to the other method. Okay, it's more than 1.5. It's less than 1.6. So this is in 0.1 millimeter increments. So I don't know where it is between whether I say 1.5 and 1.6. It's somewhere between the two. I know it's more than 1.5 and I know it's less than 1.6. I don't know exactly where in between it is. So it's still another pass. And I think we can start using the string. So let's just take another quick measurement. So I think it's right at 1.5 right now. So you can see here through the microscope where it says 15, that means 1.5. Okay? And now we can put the string back and we can hook it here. And now we do a tap test. And it's low, but I can see that it's too high. No need to measure because I can see that it's too high. So now when I file, I don't even push the file down with my finger. I just let the weight of the file do its thing, gravity. I'm holding it really, really lightly. So this is still too high. And you know, a good technique is to compare to this one. So we did this one, and now you have like a side-by-side comparison, and you can tell that this one is higher than this. So in the interest of time, we don't want to measure it. We know it's too high, and let's just continue working. Oh. See, because I'm holding it very lightly, it can kind of slip out of my hand. By the way, this is melamine material. So compared to the G string, it's still higher. So that's how you would do it if you don't even use any measuring tools. And, you know, some people can do a better job without measuring tools than some other people might be able to do with the measuring tools. It really boils down to experience. Okay, so this is starting to look like this, which means I want to take a measurement now. And today we're using feeler gauges. So let's start with 40 microns. I keep saying 1 point. 40 microns. So because this is closer to this edge, I start here. And 40 microns, keeping it very loose here. The tip is still passing. You can see that, right? So just one more pass. Only using no additional pressure, just the weight of the file. See, it doesn't pass through now. And now 30 microns, 0.03. Passes through. So that's our measurement, right? It's somewhere between 30 and microns and maybe 35 microns, something like that. It's fine, right? And now we work on this one. So I'm going to just move the whole guitar like this. And now we're looking at this string. We remove it from the string tree, just like that. And here, once again, we can use the Hosco step gauge to measure the height of the fret right here where the string would be. So 1.4 millimeters. And this here is above 1.7. So that's the 13 gauge file. I'm going to put this one away and use a 10 gauge file, which is this one. Although this is a 9 gauge string, we are going to put 10 gauge strings on. This is the only string from a 9 gauge set. The other ones are from a 10 gauge set. But there is no 9 gauge file, so we would still use a 10 gauge file even if we wanted to string it with 9 gauge strings, if that makes sense. All right, so hopefully I didn't file it too low, because usually when you mess up a nut, you mess up on the last string that you're working on. That's just Murphy's Law. So this time I just, you know, kind of on autopilot, I just put the string on. I forgot that I was using this method, but let's see where we're at, just for argument's sake. So we are below 1.7, but above 1.6. You see, it wiggles here when I put it on 1.6. So a little more. So we're approaching the end of the safe zone. Now, where is the safe zone is going to depend on your experience. Again, I forgot to use the Hosco step gauge because this is just, you know, the last string is just so quick anyway. So I might as well just keep using the string. So needs to be in the right direction, not diagonally. Okay, it's low, but it's not as low as this one. I can still see that it's higher. I don't want to waste my time measuring. Let's just file it down a little lower. Where is, this is here. Okay. It looks like it's still higher than this, but I do want to take a measurement at this time. I'll start with the 40 micron feeler gauge. It still goes through, you see? So it looked higher to me. So now we want to do short passes, light passes with very few strokes. Same thing, 40 microns. Ah, it's getting stuck, you see? So now 30 microns, 0.03 millimeters. It's less than that, 20 microns. Perfect. All right. So I did go a little below. I wanted to keep it at 30 or so, but it's only going to be a problem if for whatever reason after I reshape the top of the nut, it sinks lower, which it's not going to do that. But I kind of wanted to finish it off after I glue it in, right? But we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm not expecting this to somehow sink lower than it is now. All right, so let's put this here. We don't need our mechanical pencil, Hasco step gauge, and this goes here. We weren't using that. Oh, the Hasco step gauge goes in the little box. So this is a really good tool. I'm going to put a link in the description. It's going to be an Amazon affiliate link, which means I get paid a small commission at no extra cost to you. Let me put the link now so I don't forget. Hasco step gauge, copy and edit. And where is it? Paste. There you go. Okay. So Dr. Jeffrey Boyle is here. And there are some deleted messages, and then Mark Kadawaki, MD, so an actual doctor. So he says, doctor, this is near comparable to neurosurgery. Yes. If you go too far, it's malpractice insurance. Slow and easy. Very, very interesting watching you do this technical and very controlled guitar surgery. Thank you, doctor. And then he continues, could you possibly put a link to doctor for the files that you use? Someone said they were Music Nomad. I believe HR said that. Yeah, well, the link is in the description. And then Audio Murphy says the fix is in. Okay, I guess. So yeah, so I put a link to the files. They are Music Nomad. Let me show you. This is it. Music Nomad. So whenever I put an Amazon affiliate link, I need to say that it's an affiliate link that pays me a small commission at no extra cost to you. As if people don't know that already. Okay, so now we are going to remove the nut. So let's just loosen the strings a little bit. Oh, by the way, this cradle cube is a great tool or accessory, because you can, when you loosen the strings, look, you can just put them here. Look at that. So these are locking tuners. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of locking tuners, but these are locking tuners, so I need to work with it. So now I can't loosen it any more than this, you see? That's one reason why I'm not a big fan of them. So let's loosen the other strings. And I guess I should put an affiliate link to the cradle cube as well. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. And that's it. So this is the nut. And like I said, a Fender nut is curved at the bottom. So you can see it's curved at the bottom because the nut shelf is curved. Now these string slots are really deep, right? So this is why I want to file it on top a little bit. To be honest, it's just cosmetic, but let's do that. It's a melamine Fender nut. Okay, so I kind of cut it short. It's a little bit too long. We're gonna take care of that, all of that. But this is the nut shelf. So a Fender nut shelf is curved at the bottom, and that's by design. So if you think about it, because a square nut shelf is straight at the bottom, meaning lower than a radius nut shelf, you can't fake a square into a Fender, right? Because there's missing material. So I said I would put a link to the cradle cube. Let me do that. Cradle cube, neck rest. There it is. Edit. No, that didn't work. Okay, cradle cube. Yeah. Sorry, I'm editing the description. Okay. And I'll be using this little vise. That's a StewMac vise. Do I have a link for this? Vise. Benchtop vise. No, that's not the same one. No, I don't have a link to this. So this is a StewMac. You can go on the StewMac website and you can find this vise. I like to put tape on the inside. I just like to do that. And yeah, let's put the guitar here. Okay. So we'll do this. So the best way to do this, honestly, is with disc sander. Do I really want to do this now with the disc sander? Well, it's right there. Maybe. Let's put the guitar here. So let me put the disc sander on the workbench. So this is the disc sander. We need to make sure that this is tight enough, and I don't need this. We can just go like this. Okay, so I'll be monitoring this. I'm not really sure if you'll be able to see all the intricate little details, but I'll try to zoom in and focus. Actually, it's pretty good. Yeah, like that. So look at this, right? So I just need to kiss it a little bit and just maintain the radius. So let's, there's just going to be a little dust. I'm not going to use a vacuum right now. Yeah, so let's just do this. just eyeballing it, to be honest. And I feel like I can take down a little bit more on the treble side right here between the E and the B strings. Okay. So yeah, so this is a, you know, high power tool, and this is a fine object. What could possibly go wrong? But I'm done with the disc sander for now. And now we'll use, so I'm done with the power tools. And I will use, you know, files to finish it off. I could have just used files. Another good thing to use is actually a sanding block. I'll show you that as well. Just like an alternate method, I could have used that. Let me put the disc sander here. It really depends on how much material you want to remove and how quickly. So let's just talk about the other methods. So I have, you know, this carpet on the workbench, and it's always a good idea to put, where do I have it? A plate like this. Okay, this is better. So if I wanted to use some kind of a sanding block, I would just use one of those. So this is just a glass shelf, and I can just go like this, right? I can go also in this direction, kind of diagonally. So I don't need to do it now, right? Because this has been sanded down. But that's also a good method. You see the fly over here? Look at that. Okay. Now we can use a file to kind of round off this whole thing, and sandpaper as well. So I want to make sure that it's mounted properly. Like this, right? Focus. You can see that, yeah? And now let's file the back. You can use a file like this. So this is a really good device, right? Because you can just do this, and it's not hitting the jaw. Or you can use the same sanding block, or sanding whatever it's called, right? Like that. And now we can turn it around. Same thing now. So some people like to shape it, round it on top. I guess, you know, it works either way. You know, it's a style, I think, at this point. But I'm happy with this, so I'm just going to now sand it off like this with sandpaper. So let me put this away. in this file. And I got some sandpaper here. I'd like to use 400 grit to begin with, but this is 600 grit, so let's see. I'm lazy, I have 400 grit somewhere, but let's just start with this. I think it's good enough. .400 grit would be better, but like I said, I feel lazy. Now this isn't hitting the top, which means we want to hit the top like this. As you can see, I'm finishing it off in this direction. Let's have a look. I want to remove all the scratches. I think we're good. Or maybe just a little more. So the scratches from the disc sander, obviously. I think I can see a few more scratches here. Which is why it would have been better to start with 400 grit. But here we are with 600 grit. And you can see that it's filling up the string slots, which means it is removing material, right? Basically, I don't want to have any sharp corners on the nut. You know, that kind of feels uncomfortable if the hand hits it when you play. So this is good. Now we need to file the two sides. I'm too old for this. So we put it back. We could glue it now. No, we don't have to. It depends. This is an educational program, right? Now, I am going to start, I've been meaning to start exclusive content on YouTube, on the main channel. Which honestly would have more or less the same information that you can find on this channel on the live streams. Maybe some additional information. Probably some additional information. But it's just easier to digest, right, for most people. Because when it's edited, it's just easier to watch through. So the string tension is going to just hold the nut down. Let me check those string heights. I can still see little gaps. Yeah, as expected. And I just want to make sure that the nut isn't moving, so there's enough friction to hold it in place. So I don't need to glue it in right now, but I am going to tape it off so that I can file the sides. And not scratch the surface of the neck finish. Right? So I'll just put this tape here, a little bit away from the nut. Same thing here. And I want to put another tape right here. And again, a little bit away from the nut. You'll see why. Okay, just like that. You can see that. So this is curved, right? And I want to kind of rip this like that. Got my files here. These are StewMac files. So they're just jeweler's files. They don't need to be the StewMac, just good jeweler's files. I don't like to use diamond files for this. They're more likely to scratch the finish if you hit it close to the finish. Let me see if I have any text messages. No. Okay. Mr. Fast's Variety Vibes Show. I have a funny feeling guitars are flawed by design. It's not a perfect system, so maybe all brands have issues. I know my guitars aren't perfect. Yeah, they're not perfect. And this nut isn't going to be perfect either. I need something, maybe this. Oh, my back. Oh, I'm getting old. And I need something else. Okay, friends. I'm gonna hold the guitar like this. As you can see, I have this router. Maybe I put it this way. Just like that. Is that good? I think so. I can put a clamp here. So I think that might be a good idea. Just improvising. Okay, good. All right, so this is safe. And now we have this camera here. I wonder if I can bring the microscope closer. Yeah, but I need to move the guitar. Okay. Like this. Okay, I think we're ready. Almost. I'm ready. I'll be using, like I said, these jeweler's files. I think that's what they're called. I like to use this one. Oh no, not this one. This one. So I like to use this one. So you see the shape of this file. Okay. That's the one I like to use. And I'll show you why. Because here it has a flat surface, and it also has a rounded surface, so I can hit individual spots. So now because we have a little gap here, I'll be able to come really close like that. Now we want to reshape this. And you can see here how I'm shaping it. I might need to change the tape. I don't know yet, but we want to dust it off. There's a little part chipped off here, but that's still below the surface where we need to go, so we're going to file it down to that point anyway. Okay. And we want to clean the files. Oh, I almost cut myself. Like that. And we also want to hit the corners a little bit. And this edge. So this is not flush yet. I can show you. You can see that, right? So I'm hitting the protrusion here. And this is why we need that little gap. Because the surface isn't flat, it's rounded in this direction, right? So we're going to be writing on top of the tape so we can hit it right there flush with the surface. Let's see. Uh-huh. Look at that. Almost. I can still feel a little bit. And you see that it's starting to shred the edges of the tape. So this feels really good. I want to round off all of the corners and edges. And what we can do is we can also hit it with a sandpaper like this. And now because the tape is above the surface of the finish, we're actually not hitting the finish. And we want to hit the corners and the edges. And this, to me, looks pretty good. It's still a little bit, yeah, above the surface. I can feel that. So So it feels good, feels smooth. Yeah, man. I'm gonna remove this tape. It feels completely smooth. So I'm pretty happy with this. And now we just work on the other side. And we do the same thing. We need to put some tape there. So let's just reuse the same tape. We kind of used this edge before, so now we can use this edge. This is still fine. And let's see if we can use this edge here. Tape is expensive. Yeah, it adds up. So this is what we have. This is what we see. Focus. Like I said before, we have some chipping in the finish. This was the way the guitar was brought to me. So I could fix it, but I don't want to add to the whole budget too much because we've already added some services. So here I am just hitting the corner like this first. So once I take down the corner, I'm going to reduce this surface area so it'll actually be easier to do this now. So I'm using my sense of touch and just, just want to make sure that this is kept parallel to the fingerboard, the side of the fingerboard, the edge, where the binding would normally be. So at an angle again. And let's hit the corners and this edge. And now let's do the quick test with a feeler gauge. Focus. See? We still got a little bit of work to do. It feels good, but let's double check. Just a little more. Now remember, we are missing a little bit of finish there, but the nut would normally be sanded off at the factory before the finish, before applying the finish. So the nut itself should be at the height of the wood, not the height of the finish, if that makes sense. And then we can, if we want to do touch-up work, we can add some finish, blend it in, and also put some finish on the side of the nut. That's tedious work. I've done it before. It's really not worth it. Well, you see I'm hitting the tape here. Got to be careful not to scratch the finish. This feels flush now. And we just do this. The corners. Okay. So, I think we're done. Remove the tape. Maybe the corners here a little bit. So I hold my finger here so I don't scratch the fingerboard. Just running off the edge and the two corners. Looks good to me. That's it. So, so that's the nut. I'm just double checking everything. Everything seems to be aligning. So, we have a fair amount of friction. Ideally, I don't even want to use any glue if the nut can just be held by friction. But this one will need just a little bit of glue. So I just remember that the glue that I want to use is in the fridge. It's fish glue. I don't have it here, which means I'm not going to do it on camera. But I'll just have to take it out of the fridge, and maybe in a half hour I'll just put a couple of little dots, put the nut in, and use the strings to clamp the nut. And then once it's all clamped, I'm going to double check the string heights, and I might or might not touch up some of them. Okay, so that's that. No new comments. Okay. 18 viewers, or 17 viewers, 13 likes. So, well, if you don't like it, obviously some people don't like it, or maybe they just forgot to click like. So if you don't like it, just let me know why, because maybe I can improve something. All right, yeah, this is good. Let's also just kind of play the guitar. It's not even in tune. I don't hear any buzzing. I know you can't hear anything, but it shouldn't buzz. It's, you know, we measured everything. We have a little clearance. I'm not worried. Okay, so I did a whole bunch of work on this guitar, and I know that this live stream is about the nut, but I'm going to remove the strings now, and I'll remove the pick guard, and we'll look at the electronics, because I had to rewire something. If you watched an earlier live stream, I don't know what the title was, but it was about this guitar. I wasn't getting enough volume out of the pickups, and then I checked everything. It was just a cold solder joint to the volume pot. That's it. Now it's all fixed. I am getting enough volume. We tested this at the beginning of this live stream. I don't know if you missed that. So it works fine. Now I just want to remove the strings. So those are locking tuners, which means I'm just going to pull the strings out like this. Okay. I keep turning this. I want to turn this, right? And just pull the strings out. All right. As you can see, the nut is kind of tight, but just not tight enough. So I'm going to have to glue it in. That's just what I need to do in this case. And now we have, so let me put the nut here. The strings are off. I only put 3 screws, so let's remove them. And I have the screws in this little box, the other screws. Oh, so the neck needs to come off. Ah, damn. All right, I forgot about that. All right, fine. So, because it's a 22 fret neck, it's got that overlap, so it needs to come off so I can remove the pick guard. I also need to do a full setup on the guitar, and I'm not going to do a live stream about that. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. Okay, so here we go. This is the neck. I already polished the frets. And now let's remove the pick guard. Okay, this is it. So most of the wiring is pre-existing wiring. I didn't do a full rewire of this. So these aren't my favorite type of cables to use, wires. But, you know, if I do a full rewire, it becomes a different project and costs more as well. So I can't always insist on doing more than the customer really wants me to do. And I obviously can't do it for free. So what we see here is 2 tone pots, 2 treble bleed circuits, and a stacked volume pot, 2 gang volume pot, and a what do you call it, a super switch. So why is that? We only have 3 pickups. Well, one of them is a humbucker, you see. So there's more than one wiring solution for a Strat, especially if it's an HSS, so meaning humbucker single single. So humbuckers like 500K pots, and single coil pickups like 250K pots. So the reason for a stacked volume pot, 2 gang volume pot, is so that the humbucker sees the 500K pot and the 2 single coils see the 250K pot. That's why. Now the treble bleeds, that's a different story, right? I'll explain that as well. But anyway, so this is a more complicated wiring. It doesn't need to be like this. So if you have, let's say, a 250 only, then all 3 pickups would be wired to the 250. But that's not ideal for a humbucker. Right? Or if you have it the other way around, if you have a 500K, that's not ideal for the single coils. So you have a 2 gang pot, volume pot, once again, so that the humbucker sees the 500K, and the single coil pickups see the 250, which is, I'm sorry, that's the 250, that's the 500K. So that's the reason. Now, what are these treble bleeds circuits? So, you know, when you adjust the volume, sometimes on some guitars you hear that you also lose some of the treble. So it's as if you roll down the tone pot at the same time. So the treble bleeds counter that effect so that you can roll down the volume without losing the high end, any of the high end. Now, I'm not sure if it really eliminates completely the loss of the high end, but basically you can't hear it, or most people can't hear the loss of the high end when you roll down the volume. And yeah, that's it. So that's what we did on this guitar. And I just finished the work on the nut, and this was a live stream about the nut. I opened this so that I can make sure that I deoxit the pots, because I think I forgot to do that. So I'm going to do it right now. You know, just in case. Can't hurt. I wasn't hearing any crackling. And this pot is new, but here, a little deoxit. And we can also deoxit, obviously, the switch. And again, I wasn't hearing any crackling, but oh, and the reason for the super switch, well, there could be various reasons. You could have auto coil splitting, so that when you put the switch in position number 2, meaning when the bridge and the middle pickup are engaged, you're not using this pickup as a humbucker, but you're using it as a single coil against the single coil, right? So you get that quacky sound. But that's not how this is wired. This customer didn't want any coil splitting on this humbucker. So that's what he wanted. That's how I wired it. So there's more than one wiring diagram for a Strat. And especially when you use a humbucker, there's more than one wiring diagram for an HSS Stratocaster. And it's not easy to find the wiring diagrams online, which is why, now that I figured it out, kind of on my own, not kind of, but I did figure it out on my own. I'm going to trace it so that I have a record for future reference. So, Dr. Audie Murphy says, pump up the volume. And Dr. Jeffrey Boyle says, pump it up. Okay, friends. I see that I have an audience now, but unfortunately, this is the end of this live stream because I finished the project, and this was Ask a Tech about the nut on a Fender guitar, although I talked a little bit about the circuitry as well. I just kind of snuck it in. Why not? A little bonus material. And I'm going to end it here. So, if you feel like it, give it a thumbs up. I see that 19 people are watching. There are 15 likes. Come back. Oh, subscribe to the channel, obviously. This is Guitar Quackery Live. And also, how do you know ahead of time if there is going to be a live stream? Because they're not scheduled. Well, you simply go to Guitar Quackery on Instagram. And you see here, I just announced this live stream 20 minutes ahead of time. This was the guitar right there on the workbench. You can see it right there. And I talked about the guitar, and I made an announcement that the live stream was coming up. So if you go to Guitar Quackery on Instagram, and if you do the settings the correct way on your phone, so you need to enable notifications from Instagram in your settings, and also need to enable notifications on the actual app. You see, I was talking about the nut and all that. Then you get a notification that a live stream is going to happen within the next 10 or 20 minutes. Because I need a little time to set up everything. Usually I take a picture. I need to quickly design a thumbnail, prepare the workbench. So that takes about a few minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes 20. Sometimes I take a little break, drink a coffee or something maybe. Oh, speaking of, there's a link to buy me a coffee if you want to do that. Right. Yeah, right there. You don't have to. We're still friends. If you don't, I still want you to come back. But if you do, thank you. So subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the main channel, which is called Guitar Quackery. So you're watching this on Guitar Quackery Live, only live streaming. I do this so that my customers can watch me as I work on their guitars. How cool is that? And I've been kind of changing what Guitar Quackery is as a physical shop. So it used to be a guitar repair shop. Then it became a guitar repair shop with a YouTube studio. And now it became a YouTube studio with a guitar repair shop. So that's how it's changing and evolving. So hopefully I can maintain and grow in that direction. Yeah. So yesterday, I posted on Instagram this thing. About a cool guitar that came in yesterday, which is this one. This guitar is a Hackstrom 1. There will be a full live stream of a full service on this guitar. coming up. I don't know when. In 3 weeks, maybe. I think so. 3, 4 weeks. I don't know. This is why you need to be subscribed or follow Guitar Quacker on Instagram. Now I have 53 followers. Let's see if the number goes up as we speak. Still 53. Come on. All right. Yeah, you don't have to, but then you miss announcements. So I use Instagram as the news outlet for Guitar Quackery. There will be more interesting stuff posted on Instagram. I have some ideas, but I'm just trying to manage my time right now, right? So I got 20 posts already and 53 followers. I wonder if the number is going to go up. Oh, maybe I need to refresh. Let me see. No, still 53. Okay, maybe all of you are already following, or maybe you don't have Instagram. I never had Instagram before. I just signed up. Oh, look at that. That's Instagram. Interesting. That isn't Guitar Quackery, but it's still interesting. Let's see. Oh, HRH commented on Instagram 3 minutes ago. So let me open the comment. Hey kids, it's almost happening. So he says, thank you, doctor. It was an excellent architect session. I really picked up new information when you use the little vise and with the slope and how to do that correctly. So well done. Thank you, doctor. I'm going to give you a heart and I'm going to reply. Thank you. And here. Okay, I like to reply. So that's that. All right. And some other people liked it 4 minutes ago. And yeah, it's interesting. Okay. Let me check. I'm still at 53 followers. Okay. So I guess all of you are already following. Okay, friends. Let me go. I'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.